Welcome to another session of Searching for Salvation. As always, we like to discuss the fact of why we're here, and that quite simply is to encourage our brethren and our friends and our family to develop a personal relationship with Christ through their own study of the New Testament. We have these sessions to where we bring up different subjects so that we can hopefully cause people to want to find out if what we're saying has any merit. However, we do not and would never ask anyone to take our opinions as their own. That would defeat the entire purpose of searching for salvation. It's important and imperative that you yourself study the Word of God. Tonight, we're going to be discussing a subject that is probably near and dear to everyone, and that is money. Everyone knows 1 Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil. But what they sometimes miss is the fact that it's the love of money that is the problem, not money itself. Money is something that we all need. It's how we take care of our families. It's how we provide lodging and food and transportation and fun. So it's something that we all use every day. So we need to understand how to use money. And we need to look at it, I think, like this. Money is simply a tool. It's just one of the many tools that we use in our daily lives. Obviously, it is a very important tool. But like all tools, we need to know how to properly use it. By trade, I'm a bricklayer, and I had an apprenticeship. And during my apprenticeship, I had a whole bag of tools that I needed to learn how to use. I needed to learn how to use my trowel so I could put mortar on the wall so I could lay brick and block. I needed to learn how to use my brick hammer so that I could properly cut brick and block. I needed to learn how to use my striking iron, which finished the joints between the brick and the block. And most importantly, I needed to learn how to use my levels, my 2-foot and my 4-foot levels, to make sure that the work I was doing was both level and plumb. If I didn't do that, usually they came along and kicked it over. So anyway, but it's important to know those. If I did not know how to use those tools, then I would have never advanced to the level of journeyman. They would never have allowed me to go out and start laying block or brick on a job myself. Money's no different. As a matter of fact, it's one of the tools that is most important that we learn how to properly use, because it's so easy to misuse it. Now, where do we go to look to find out how to handle money? Now, most people in the world, they will go to a financial advisor or someone who plans out retirements or those things like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But we need to remember that if we rely too much on the world's wisdom for how to utilize money, then we are risking some things. For instance, in 1 Corinthians, Paul tells us that the worldly wisdom is foolishness to God. And what we need to understand is that there is more than just what our financial advisors and our retirement planners to understanding how to handle money. And this is a 2-part session, and we're going to cover how the Bible really looks at properly used money in the next session. So let's go on and talk about the fact that the purpose of these advisors is to help us to plan for virtually every eventuality, to prevent problems from cropping up now and in the future. And that's just fine. There's nothing wrong with that, again. The problem with that is, when we get involved in doing that, it's too easy for us to become more and more friendly with the world, because we're relying on the world to help us to gain these objectives. Financial security for our retirement. We have to be careful. James says in his chapter 4, verses 4, he says that worldly wisdom, or friendship with the world, is enmity towards God. These are things that we have to be able to juggle as we begin our understanding of money. Finally, when all of our security is based upon money, when we look at money as if we have to have this much or that much or in a certain way or whatever in order to have security for our old age or whatever, then we've forgotten something. We've forgotten that we're to live by faith, not by sight. Again, in Corinthians. It's important that we leave room for faith. If we don't, then we're not leaving room for God. There's no doubt that money is vitally important to all of us. And if you really want to know that firsthand, just ask a poor person. A person who has to strive every day to provide food for their family, a place to lay their heads with heat and coolness. Most of us don't have to worry about that. Most of us have been blessed with the ability to move past that. And we can thank God for that. But there are responsibilities that come with that. And there are responsibilities that are vital to our success as Christians in this world. And we're going to be discussing that in our next session. Because in the final analysis, it's Jesus Christ who has the right to tell us how to do anything. If we do not rely on Him, then we are relying on the wrong thing. We're building our foundation of our understanding of money on the wrong foundation. And that's not what the Lord wants for us. Money is important to understand because of this fact. It is one of the things, I believe, that is going to send more people or cause more people to lose their salvation than just about anything else. It's because we need it so much. It's so easy to become so focused upon it that we lose sight of what are the more important things or aspects to Christianity. Some of the things we're going to be discussing next week are difficult to talk about, and they're difficult to listen to. And most people do not and will not agree with what we're talking about. But no one can deny the fact that they are in the New Testament, and that we all have to make a decision about those scriptures. And we will begin that process next week. I hope you've gotten something from this discussion, and to the point where you might want to listen in to the next one. Hope you have a good week. Thanks.